Hi everyone. Today video is on implementing Azure Redis cache into the NestJS application. So what is Redis cache? Redis is an open source in-memory data structure store used as a database cache. Okay, it supports it supports data structures such as string, hashes, lists, sets, stored sets with range queries, etc. Okay, let let's understand the flow of using the Azure Redis cache into our web application or an web API. Okay, user requests a page or API from the web application. Okay, user requests a page or a web API or some response from the web application. Web application queries the Redis store. Okay, if the data exists, then fetches the data and returns the response directly to the user. So web application try to fetches the data from the Redis store. If the data exists, it will directly return to the user. If no data in the Redis store, then application queries the database and fetches the data. Next, save the same data into the Redis store so that subsequent user request can consume the data from the Redis store directly. And finally, returns the response to the user. So if at all there is no data in the Redis store, then application queries the database, okay, and fetches the data, and then save the same data into the Redis store, okay, and then send the response to the user. Since any other request arrives at the server, since the data is stored into the Redis store, so for the other for all other requests, data will be served directly from the Redis store. There is no communication with the database. Okay. So now let's create a Redis instance in the Azure. Okay. So first you need to have a Azure account, portal account, and just log in. This is the home page. Okay. And click on create resource. So here resource is like a folder. Okay. And here on left hand side navigate to databases. Okay. And then click the Azure cache for Redis. So then we can see a new form where we have to enter some information. Okay. So here you need to select the subscription type. Okay. And this subscription is like either a free or pay subscription. Okay. For Redis store in Azure, there is no free. We have to at least pay the basic payment to consume it. Okay. And resource group, either you can create a new one, or if you have any existing one, you can use them. Okay. And finally, DNS, it is like a domain namespace. So I'm giving my name itself. Okay. And location, nearest location. And here is the plans. Okay. Cache plans. So to view the full plans, click here. Okay. And this is the most basic one. If you want to learn also, you have to select this plan. There is no free plan available. On select and click on the select. Okay. And finally, click on the next networking button. Okay. Here you can see mine is a basic plan, right? So I won't provided with other options. By default, this is public endpoint. Okay. Click on next. Okay. Here you can select the version of the Redis. So you can select latest version. Okay. And if you want to add any tags, you can add here. And finally, click on the review and create. Okay. After clicking review and create, it takes around 2 to 3 minutes for setting up the Redis instance in the Azure. Okay. Since I have already created one, I am not going to create a new one. Just I have shown you the flow how to create. Okay. So once you have created, you can click on the resource groups here. Okay. And you can go for your required resource group under it. So this is my Redis instance. I see here type Azure Cache for Redis. Okay. Like this, you can see once everything is successfully set up for you. Okay. Okay, this is my CLI command. Next space new space your project name. So let's create the project. Our project is created. Let's open it in the Visual Studio Code editor. So here is our NestJS application. Okay. Now we have to install three npm packages. Let's install them. First package we have to install is npm install cache manager. Copy this and install. Next, we need to install types cache manager. It is a TypeScript supported cache manager. Okay, so let's copy it. And the final package that is cache manager Redis store. So particularly Redis store package we have to install. Let's install it. Okay, now we have to configure the Redis store in our NestJS application. Okay, for that go to app module. First, let's import the Redis store from the cache manager Redis store. Okay. And from the @nestjs slash common, we have to import the cache module. Okay, let's register the cache module. Okay, here we have to provide few configurations like store. So cache module is a generic one. So here we have to specify the store means which type of cache we are using. Since we are using Redis store, right? So let's assign our cache module is a Redis store. Okay. Next, I have to assign port number. Next, auth pass is the authentication password for my Redis cache. Next, host name of my Redis cache. Okay, and we have to define TLS object. So TLS means transport layer security. Okay, by default, this is enabled for Redis. So we have to define this object as well. Here, simply, I think we have to assign host name again. That's it. But it is a mandatory configuration. Okay. And now we have to populate this configuration. For that, let's go and fetch the connection string of our Redis Azure store. Okay. So this is my Redis Azure store, right? So if you on left hand side under settings menu, you can see access key. Okay. From here, copy the primary connection string. So from here, I can retrieve the values. Okay. So this is my domain. Copy it. Host. Both the places pass here. Okay. Next auth pass, that is nothing but a password. So let me copy my password. And the port number. Port number you can see here 6380. So 6380. Okay. Now let's create a model for our response. Okay. So here what I will do, I will create a model like all.ts. So this is my model. So let's add some properties to it. So finally, our response model looks like this. Okay. Now go to our controller. I'm going to use this app controller itself. So here what I will do, let's take my response data. In generally, we have to fetch from database, right? Here what I will do, I will mock the data. I assume like that data is coming from database. Okay. Now let's inject the cache manager into our controller. Okay. I will use @inject. Okay. That going to load from nest.nestjs common library. And to this we have to pass a token like cache manager. Okay. Cache manager loads from nestjs common library. Okay. And its type will be cache. So we have injected the cache instance into our controller. So let's modify this action method. Okay, like my cars. This is my path. Let's get rid of this logic. Okay. So when user request arrives at the server first look into the cache store. Okay, same logic we have to implement here. Okay, where cars from Redis. Okay, so here I am going to use await. I am using asynchronous call, right? I can add async keyword and await this dot cache manager dot. Here we should get a method like get. Why it is not getting cache? Yeah. This cache must be imported from cache manager. Okay. Now here add cache. Okay. Now let's try to get the method. Okay. Now I'm getting. So here I can expect array of cars. Okay. And here it will expect a key. So what is key? So while saving into the Redis our data, we are going to save them as a key value pair. Okay. Like a dictionary. So based on this key only, we can fetch the data from the Redis store. So I will simply say my key is like car store. Okay, key value pipe. So with the key only, we can fetch the data. Okay, now if cars from Redis exist and cars from Redis dot length greater than 0 means I have data from the database. Sorry, Redis store. So if I have data in the Redis store, I can directly return the response, right? So I can directly return the cars from Redis. Okay. If at all, if so up to this logic, if the data is exist in the Redis store, if not exist, then we have to fetch the data from the database. So here our database is here, fake database. Okay. So I have data available currently, and now what I have to do, I have to store it to the Redis store so that next user request can served from the Redis store. Okay. So for to setting the or to saving the data into the Redis store, we have to use set method. Okay. So for this set, I can specify the type as array of data I'm going to store. Here I am going to specify the key. The key must be same. Whatever key we are trying to fetch, same key. We are going to use the save the data. Okay. And we simply can pass the our fake data. Okay, what I am doing? I am simply by assigning a key, I am storing my data into the Redis store. Okay, now I can simply return the cars from Redis as a response. Okay, for our understanding, I will add one more additional property. Okay, sorry, ending is not Redis cache, it's fake data. Okay, this dot fake data. Okay, so here I will assign a property like data, and I want to add one more property like is Redis. That means it is loaded from Redis or not. Okay, I'm going to say here true. So here it must be semicolon. And copy the same. Okay, and I'm going to replace this. Okay, data is there, and here it is false because it is not loading here from the Redis store. Okay, so this is our logic looks like. So what we are doing first, whenever the request comes, we are checking whether it is exist in the Redis store or not. If it is existing in the Redis store, then we directly return the response to the user. If at all, if we don't have the data in the Redis store, then we have to fetch the data from the database. So here my database is fake database. So I have already available my data, right? So what I'm doing, I'm saving that data into the Redis store. Okay, so that any other request will be executed here itself. Okay. And now we have to add one more configuration, that is expiration. So to add expiration, go to app module. So it is like a global expiration TTL 300. So this is like 300 seconds. That means I am adding 5 minutes cache. Okay, and test the API. So this is my endpoint. Let's run it. So it is first request. It is showing Redis is false because it is fetching from the my fake database. Okay, if now I reload again, see I am getting true. Until 5 minutes, you will always get the true. Okay, okay, that is how cache works. Now let's try to understand how to remove the cache. To remove the cache, let's create a one more action method like async. I will name it like remove. Okay, I will input key, that is my register key. I will pass. So whichever key I am going to pass it here, that data must be removed from the Azure Redis cache. Here let's apply get attribute and remove cache. Okay. Now here I simply this dot cache manager dot delete. Okay. And I can pass my key. So I'm going to pass the key dynamically. Okay. Return clear. Okay. So this is my action method. So let's test it. Okay, this is our first endpoint, right? Let's reload it. So it is still coming from cache, right? Now what I will do, I am going to clear it. So this is my endpoint and this is my query parameter where I am sending the key. Okay, let's run it. Error. So here our input query parameter must be decorated with the attribute like query. So we can see here it is successfully cleared. So if I come back here and reload, it is showing false. Let's test again. If I reload, it will come from Redis store. And now if I clear here, it is cleared. If I come back and reload here, it is again false. That is how to remove the cache from the Azure Redis store. Okay. And finally, I want to explain about one more thing, that is like here TTL expiration, here we are giving right time to live. This is like global expiration. It is will be applicable for all the action methods whatever uses the Redis cache. Okay, to override at action method level, we can use a attribute like @cache TTL, and you can specify here time. So here I will specify like 10 seconds, means 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, cache should be removed. So globally, I have assigned 5 minutes, right? That will be override by this attribute. Okay, let's test it as well. Okay, first let's clear the cache. Okay, and load our API. Okay, it is loading true. Again, reload. So it is loading from the cache, right? Let's wait for 10 seconds. Our expiration time. You can see our cache is expired. So that's how uh, expiration works for at the action method level. Okay, so that's all about the usage of Azure Redis Store in NestJS application. I think this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Soon we will meet you again with a new video. Until then, signing off.